Hi there, I'm Pravina and I'm a speech pathologist from Cerebral Palsy Alliance. Today I thought I'd share some tips on how to spend some time with your little ones, reading aloud with them. As a speech pathologist, I love to recommend reading books with your children. It's a great way to encourage and foster language development, and it's also a great way to teach them some attention skills, get them to sit with you, engage with you, join in an activity with you. And when it comes to language development, it's a great way to teach little ones new vocabulary or new concepts like up and down, on and off. It's also a great way to teach speech sounds. So if we're working on a speech sound, it's a great way to work on that particular sound and get them to clearly articulate it. Books are also really good for teaching children how to ask questions or how to answer questions properly. Listening to who questions, like who's that, or where are they going, or what are they doing. And it's also a really good way to practice social language with them and get them to take turns reading pages in the book or turning the book pages or teaching them funny jokes so that they understand social language that we use when we're around other people. And it's also a really great way to develop a child's play and imagination. They start to learn about all these other people and places and things beyond their own experiences that are really, really exciting and new for them. There's studies that say that parents who read to their children who are as young as 8 months old have stronger language development. And there's also research that says that a child's interaction with books from a young age can actually make a huge difference on their literacy skills in the future. So they're reading and writing once they start school. And it's also a really great way to promote a good, healthy parent-child relationship and interaction. I always like to allow the child to pick the book first. I think when they get to pick the book, it makes such a difference in their level of engagement and motivation. They get a bit more excited to read a book. So with someone else especially. So I think getting them to pick their own book is probably the way to go. Things to sort of consider is what the book looks like. Is the book filled with pictures, big, colourful, bright pictures? Is it, a pop-out book or with cutouts or textures, things that are going to engage them and keep them sort of looking at the book and interested in the book, things that will naturally create dialogue for you. So a book without pictures can be a little bit tricky to create a dialogue with your child about. Choosing a book with a simple plot, we want them to start to learn about the characters. We want them to start to learn about how stories sort of progress and the way they sort of unfold. So we want them to be able to retell us the story at some point. So if the plot is simple, then they'll be able to retell the story to us and discuss the characters with us and the places that are mentioned in the book, and they'll be able to retain all that information as well. For us as adults, we sort of naturally read to ourselves. We don't really get much experience reading aloud except for when we're reading to our kids. So we do have to change ourselves a little bit and put on a bit of a persona and start playing different characters. So I think my encouragement to parents would be, don't be afraid. Change your voice a little bit, put some exaggerated body language and gesture and facial expression when you're telling a story. That'll engage your child and that will keep them super interested. Another big tip that I'd probably recommend is keep talking about the book before and even during when you're reading the book, and then after you finish reading the book, because the discussions around the book is what's important, is what is basically reiterating all that language that you've just introduced to your child. So keep talking about it, keep encouraging them to, even draw pictures about the book they just read, or, pretend to be one of the characters. That can be a really good way to reinforce all that they've just learned from this book. That's the most important thing, I think, about reading a book aloud with your child, that you are having some nice back and forth conversation with them.